The traditional interview is a very poor predictor of employee success. And by traditional interview, I mean sort of the typical thing you think of. Tell me about yourself. Why did you leave your last job? I mean, these are real questions people actually ask. This is supposed to divine whether somebody's going to be a good candidate or not. Now let's try a little math. Just a real quick, simple little test. Sorry about that. So in your head, without doing a calculator, just sort of estimate the value of that equation real quickly and kind of keep that to yourself. And then now estimate the value of this equation. Kind of keep that to yourself. Think about it for a second. All of you are very bright. I'm sure you came up with the exact correct answer without using a calculator. So here's what happens. Most people estimate the value of the first equation at about 500 and the second equation at about 2,000. So besides it being mental abuse to humans, none of you did that. You all got the exact answers, 40,320. Okay. So why is it that this happens? Well, the primary reason is because we have all these biases that we bring to the equation. So this is called anchoring. We pay more attention to the first number in the equation, and that misdirects our calculation along the way. All right. So what does this mean when it comes to interviewing? The 10-second impression. If you typed into Google 10-second impression, you get 34,100,000 hits in 0.51 seconds. It's because that's important. We all rely on first impressions, right? First impressions. You either like me or you don't like me. And you came up with that impression in about the first 10 seconds, which has to do with confirmation bias. So I'm not going to read all this to you, but I'm going to be documenting your bullying behavior. So I'm not a bully, but now your confirmation bias will make everything that I say seem like bullying. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So some contributors to confirmation bias are the height. People who are tall make more money. That's a fact. Attractiveness. Sound of someone's voice. Their placement in the interview process, whether they come first, second, third, last, what the experience has been prior to that, the timing of the interview, the appearance that someone's warm, the similarity of the interviewer and the interviewee, all of these things contribute to confirmation bias. Now I'm ready. So the Boston Symphony Orchestra figured this out in the 50s. They tried to control for gender bias by doing what The Voice does today, which is basically a blind audition. That's the primary methodology for selecting orchestra members today, a blind audition, because they didn't have enough female orchestra members. So almost a century of research will tell you this. Work experience, reference checks, and unstructured interviews, tell me about yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years, that can predict about 24% of someone's success in their job. You can double your chances of success with an employee by conducting work sample tests, just as an example, and structured interviews. That's about 55% predictability factor. So despite all this evidence, despite all the data associated with it, we still use the primary method for selecting a candidate for your organizations and for my organizations for that matter is the job interview. That's something our grandparents used. So the cartoon hits it. So where were you? Anyway. Okay, so where were you 1966 through 1995? I was on tour with the Grateful Dead. I can't get by without a New Yorker cartoon. So we're not going to go through all this. This is a little dense. I'm happy to send it to you if you like it. On the left-hand side is sort of the traditional post and pray methodology. Post the job, hope you get sent some good resumes, let's have a few interviews, let's bring in the hiring manager and be done with it. On this side, if you want to get to the 95th percentile, okay, structured interviews, crowdsourcing the interview, having a cross-functional interview team, and structured interview questions around competencies. That really is the methodology to use. If you want a quick tip, believe it or not, if you go to the VA's website and type in this address, you'll get a spreadsheet that you can download, which has hundreds of competency-based, behaviorally, so it's performance-based interview questions, that's it. Right? They're all arranged by competency, they're all arranged by job level, and if you don't do anything else but just select a few of those questions, you'll be a lot better off than just tell me about yourself. Okay? The other thing I would just make a cautionary note about is it's fine to think about fit as it relates to a job, but be aware of the allure of fit. right? So assuming your golf handicap checks out, the job's yours. So some final thoughts. Minimize your subjectivity through structured interviews. Okay? Find your own candidates. Don't rely on post and pray. Source your own candidates. And focus on hiring at the 95th percentile, even if it's difficult. Even if the hiring manager pressures you to get somebody, even if they are worn thin, just get me somebody that can answer the phones. Don't let them do that to you. Thank you.